Good afternoon, Onefootballers, and welcome back to a brand new week of football power rankings and a brand new system altogether. It was evident after the last few weeks that things weren't quite just right, so some of our smartest people at Onefootball put their heads together and came up with a whole brand new ranking system. Basically, we're going to take the last 5 games of each player has played from some of the top names in Europe and put together a rankings list of them all. That means that a player having just one good game won't be enough to get them into the top 10, and likewise a player having a bit of an off day may not push them out altogether. So with all that said, let's get into the top 10 for this week. Now, first off, we normally have our winners and losers. However, because we're starting fresh this week, there are no losers, but I will give a winners / special mention to Luka Modric. He doesn't actually make this week's top 10 as he and Real Madrid haven't been in the best of form recently. However, he did win the Ballon d'Or on Monday night. Finally, the curse of the Ballon d'Or. The Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo debate is finally over, and I'm not even sure one of them will ever win it again. But if you think they will, I'm going to leave a poll right here so you can have your say on whether or not Ronaldo or Messi will ever win another Ballon d'Or. But as for this week's winner off the top 10 chart, it's Luka Modric. Well done for finally breaking the stronghold. So let's get into this week's top 10, and as we go through, I'll give a few little pointers as to how you can see just how our new system is working throughout the list. In at number 10 is Antoine Griezmann from Atletico Madrid. His form in the last few matches has seen him score 2 goals, get 3 assists, and Atletico Madrid are sitting comfortably at the top of their Champions League group. Just one more point will be enough to see them through as group winners on match day 6. As for La Liga, well, they've consolidated the spot in the top 4, and their chances of chasing down league leaders Barcelona look pretty good at the moment. In at number 9, and it's Marco Reus from Borussia Dortmund. Now, he's got 3 goals and an assist in the last 5. However, he hasn't played well in the last 2 yet. This is where the new ranking system comes in. In the last 5 games, he played phenomenally well as Borussia Dortmund beat Bayern Munich 3-2. He got 2 goals in that game and got a Man of the Match award. So that score with the last few games means he still holds on to a place in this top 10, but only just coming in at number 9. In at number 8, and it's someone who took a lot of the brunt for finishing first in last week's power rankings, and it's Cristiano Ronaldo. After putting all the score ratings into our computer, it turns out that Ronaldo's not actually doing that well recently and sits at number 8 in this week's power rankings. Of course, he has scored 4 in the last 5, however, he hasn't really contributed much else around the pitch. And with all the shots that he takes, his shot conversion rate is actually pretty poor. So although he has scored, he hasn't been at his best form, and so sits in 8th position. In at number 7 is our only defender on this list, and someone who's benefiting from having 5 performances taken into account rather than just last week's performances. Virgil van Dijk had a bit of a horror show, as did most of the Liverpool team, against PSG last week. However, surrounding these games, he has been in fantastic form. There's been clean sheets against Fulham, against Watford, and against arch rivals Everton, and to add to that, he got an assist in last night's victory over Burnley. This means that Liverpool have kept in touch with lead leaguers Manchester City, and Virgil van Dijk has been a massive part of that. He sits in at number 7. In at number 6 is the first of 2 Eintracht Frankfurt players in this list, and it's not a surprise given how many goals they're scoring at the moment. Last week we told you in the daily news that they were actually the most on-form team in Europe, having 9 wins out of their last 10 games. Well, at the weekend they actually lost to Wolfsburg, but despite that, Luka Modric scored to make it 6 goals in the last 5 games. Again, much like with Cristiano Ronaldo, he scores loads, but isn't exactly providing much else around the rest of the pitch, so he sits in at number 6. In at number 5 is someone who had the exact same rating as Luka Modric because much like him, he has 6 goals and an assist in his last 5 games. Robert Lewandowski from Bayern Munich has been on good form in front of goal, but didn't do too much in the weekend's victory over Bremen. That's where Serge Gnabry stole the show. As for the rest of the games, well, he is finding the net, but again, isn't really doing much else to deserve that much of a higher rating in terms of team contribution. So sitting at number 5 is Robert Lewandowski. We now come to the top 4, where you'll find that within the rating of a player, it's actually what they contribute to the team as a whole, not just what they do in front of goal. You've seen that the likes of Luka Modric and Robert Lewandowski are scoring but not doing much else, so they're not making it into the top 3 or 4 players. But starting off at number 4, we have Harry Kane. Now, much has been said about his contribution to the team as a whole, and his passing, to be honest, is utterly fantastic. You can see it in the quality of the assists that he's got, and he added another one last night as Spurs beat Southampton 3-1 with a fantastic cross for Heung-min Son. In the last 4 games, games, Kane has scored 3 goals, and the game that he didn't score a goal in, he was brilliant against Inter Milan. He won more aerial duels and completed more dribbles than any other player on the pitch, in a game which saw Spurs keep their hopes of qualifying for the Champions League knockout rounds alive. And whilst we're talking about Harry Kane, I bet you're going to be wondering, where is Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang in this list? Well, he did score 2 fantastic goals against Spurs at the weekend to secure victory for Arsenal in the North London derby. To be honest, they destroyed Spurs. However, in the last few games, he hasn't actually been on that good a form, so his overall rating has dropped somewhat. He didn't do too well against Manchester United and didn't even play in the Europa League against Wolfsburg. Now, I know what you're going to be saying. 1, Matt, that's a terrible pronunciation of that name. And 2, he's not exactly going to be aligned to playing such a, let's be honest, not so important Europa League game. This is where our power ranking system comes into effect, and I will be dealing with this to find out which game actually is pointless to score and which game not so much. No offense to all you Vorskla fans out there, but I probably offended you enough, so I'm going to stop saying your team name. So now we come to the top 3 in this week's list. And of course, it wouldn't really be a list of the best players in Europe if Lionel Messi wasn't in it. And he sits comfortably at number 3. Now, unfortunately, and somehow unbelievably, Messi finished 5th in the Ballon D'Or rankings. That's a whole nother video altogether, and I still don't understand it. But as for his form on the pitch, he's been nothing short of brilliant since returning from injury. He's got 3 goals and 3 assists in his last 4 games. Barcelona sit top of La Liga and comfortably top of their Champions League group, and Lionel Messi has completed more dribbles than any other player in that time period. He's been on absolute fire recently, and it's no surprise given that he probably is the greatest player of all time. But again, I don't want to start that debate. That could be for another video too. In at number 2, and is a name you might have not heard of just yet, but believe me, you definitely will in the months to come. If he doesn't make a huge money move to England or even to a massive team in Spain or Germany, no offense to Frankfurt here, you'll definitely be hearing about Sebastian Haller because of his goal-scoring exploits on the pitch. In the last 5 games, Haller has 3 goals and 3 assists up front for Frankfurt, alongside Luka Modric, who we mentioned earlier. Add to this the fact they've got Ante Rebic in there, and you can see why Frankfurt is such a dominant force in Europe at the moment. But as for his overall team play, this isn't really a surprise when you look even further back on his form. Now, I know it doesn't count towards the last 5 games that he's played, but in his last 9 games, Haller has 6 assists and 8 goals for Frankfurt. That's incredible, and definitely the kind of form that will see him get a big money move. He sits at number 2 on this list, and deservedly so as a runner-up, but his place could be coming under threat from one of his own teammates, so we'll keep an eye on that in the weeks to come. And finally, we come to this week's number 1, and a player who hasn't actually been at the top this season, although he has been in unbelievable form. Wearing the light blue of Manchester City, it could have been anyone, but it's Leroy Sané. He's got 2 goals, 3 assists, a Man of the Match award, and a ridiculous goal off his chest within the last 5 games, and he's just been on fire this season. It seems like he's extra determined to prove to the German selectors that they were wrong not to take him to the World Cup in the summer, and he's doing a damn fine job of it. Out on that left wing for Manchester City, he's tormenting defences with his quick dribbling, his speed, and his unerring finishing when he gets close to the back of the net. Of course, Manchester City have been brilliant this season, and they have so many attacking options that it really says a lot that Sané's been able to hold on to his spot on the side and continue to put in the fantastic performances. So there you have it, our new and improved power rankings. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section below who would have been in your top 3, who would have been in your top 10, and who should definitely not have been in there. Of course, smash the like button whilst you're down there, and you can click here to check all of our other videos on Onefootball. But until next time, I will see you guys later.